Hi everyone, Coach Sullivan here again with MGS Coaching Football. To my subscribers, I thank you, and to those who haven't yet, I really hope you do. And to YouTube, I thank you as well for giving us this opportunity and platform. I was just completed my 38th year coaching football. I was a defensive coordinator, but over that span, I've been an offensive coordinator, special teams coordinator, longtime head coach, and all of this at both the collegiate and high school levels. Today, what I'd like to talk to you about is one of our Zone Blitz coverages that we call medium. Okay. So when it comes to inside linebackers blitzing, we use coffee sizes. So we have small and medium. And today I'm going to talk to you about medium blitz coverage versus 11 personnel. It can be done out of both base and our rotate tags. So non-subscribers have to push that button so you can have access to both small as well as what I mean by rotate and have access to all of it. Subscribers, they already know. Okay. So it's good versus all personnel groups. We utilize it even down in our own red zone goal line at times as a change up, right? When a team thinks you're going to be in man coverage, so to speak, traditional man. But certainly outside our red zone for the other 80 yards of the field, I am not a risk taker or a gambler. I'm a zone blitz guy. Okay, so I'm going to teach you what all that means in this presentation. So the key terms over here, I will bring to life here. And I'm not going to go through, every possible blitz with our inside linebackers. Just they're blitzing. Boom, done. They're out of it because they're blitzing, except when it comes to running back potentially, okay, in coverage. I'm not going to go through every single possible route combination that there might be. I'm going to give you some crossing routes just to show you the zone blitz coverage technique that would be utilized against the receiver. Okay, so that I will do. All righty. So first up, key term number one, surface. Well, that's the offensive line. Okay, and the best part about medium coverage is every single one of our coverage defenders is reading the offensive line for run or pass. Okay, man, this is a zone blitz. So in zone, those defenders are reading the offensive line. Well, it doesn't change. Okay, so there's some consistency there. And why we do that, I'm going to get to as we get down near the bottom here. So number two, medium coverage as defined, it's a five-man pressure, and both inside linebackers are blitzing, which for us is the M and B, Mike and backer. Whatever you call them's fine. Okay, so the more people that blitz and you want to stay in zone type of blitz coverage, you have to have a plan for it, and that's what I'm going to teach you here today. So number three, this is a key term here, hot. All right, so before I even get into that key term of hot, the way we approach it when we install blitzes from day one in either spring, preseason, right, or all year long, is I say to the players, look, the offense knows that you're blitzing. They know where you're blitzing. They know why you're blitzing. They even know how we're going to cover it up. So then that forces the players to think, not like coaches, but understand that there's a lot involved. What if they know? How can we make sure that they don't right? So that's how we approach it. Okay. So HUD is all the underneath defenders. So for us, underneath are both outside linebackers, plural, and cornerbacks, plural, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, because both of these guys are blitzing. All right? That's underneath coverage to us, 2 corners, 2 outside linebackers. All righty? And here's the key. Huge focus here today. They play, quote, and I'm quoting myself, man coverage with zone leverage, end quote. The underneath hot defenders play, quote, man coverage with zone leverage, end quote. Huge. Just some single routes, as I mentioned. I will show you now what that means to be hot. Okay, I've mentioned it, referenced in non-subscribers. You're going to have to push the button several blitz presentations, I've talked about how the hot coverage defenders read surface first, then if it's pass, are hot on their. Okay, well, here it is. So hopefully you push the button and subscribe because it doesn't cost anything. Okay. So the big aspect of this, because both of our inside linebackers are blitzing, and as you look here against the one back, okay, we have the two receivers on both sides accounted for with deep help on both sides. How do you account for the running back, right? Huge. Running backs are utilized by a lot of offenses as the blitz beater. So this is how we do it. We have what we call our outside cage. That is the contained defender. Okay, again, non-subscribers because we have pistol game playlist. They have the running back outside the tackle or C and D gap. Okay, so the outside cage defenders, and I will show you this, if the running back appears in C gap, they take him on this side. C to D, that same defender on this side, the outside cage, would take the running back. And they know this because it's taught to them. It's in our playbook, both huddle and hard copy, etc. Okay? The inside defenders, including the inside linebackers in the blitz, okay, so nose for sure, possibly a D end. It can vary. But minimum, these three, they take the running back B gap to B gap. So we never say don't, we always say, don't ever run past the running back, like two ships passing in the night. There's a reason why he's not trying to block you, son, right? Okay, so the inside defenders take him if he shows up inside, B to B. Outside cage defenders take him if he shows up outside. And there's a possible what we call a rhino tag. Okay, rhino. I think I have my signboard with rhino on. Apologize for 1 second here. If we point to that, the nose understands if it's pass, he's going to drop and specifically looking for the running back. Okay, that's what's meant by this one. Sorry, I thought I had that ready, the signboard. I have to find myself later. Just not right now. So the reasons for why we would run medium, okay? First of all, it's less risk. Especially 80 yards of the field, their goal line at R20. I am not interested in sending the house, whether it's 5-man, 6-man, 7-man, and not having any help at the third level. You don't get there, or you miss a tackle, or what have you, and now you're calling for PAT defense. I'm not a fan of that, not at all. Okay? This also in letter B allows us to keep receivers in front of us, part of less risk. Okay, coupled with reading surface, coupled with, okay, keeping the receiver in front. You can still see the quarterback. You can also play the receiver as well as react to the quarterback releasing the football. Zone and man techniques combined. Now, letter C, better run support. There's plenty of times with blitzing both inside linebackers, and it might be 100% run tendency. Well, if I got guys who are only looking at receivers running, right, I got no run support. So I want better run support, even in situations where it's pretty high tendency to be a pass play. Nonetheless, if they run it, we'll have the run support. So that's a huge factor in this. The fact that the coverage reads the surface, the offensive line, which is something we practice and do every single day, they're in their comfort zone. Okay, so if their coach is going to be, not cautious, I love the pressure, I just don't like to take risk. Well, if that's how we're going to attack it, well, then our players need to understand how we're going to do that. And that starts with we're reading the surface, and here's why we're reading the surface. Play action. We assume they know that these two guys are blitzing and where they're blitzing, so we assume those guys won't get there. So we have to be, you follow what I'm trying to say? So I'm trying to get my players to understand why I'm thinking and we're approaching it the way we are. And then ultimately, everything connects back to the letter A, less risk. Well, it's too high safeties. We got deep help on both sides of the field. Again, all personnel groups. Okay, I got five men pressuring the line of scrimmage, whether it's a run situation or a pass. Five, that's pretty good. Well, that means I got six with two at the third level, which makes me feel pretty secure. Okay, and that's why I'm much more willing to pressure that much more because we're not taking risks. Okay, so what I'd like to do now, it'll be a combination of red for your head and a little bit of the black here. Okay, again, starting off with Mike and Backer, they're blitzing. Boom, done. All right, and so for now, if we were just playing, in this case, our base 3-4, 50, all right, and whatever the blitz is, okay, and so whether the defensive end is in the B gap as part of the blitz, whether the defensive end is in the C gap as part of the blitz, okay, doesn't matter. If the offensive line, the surface is showing pass, that defensive end becomes the outside cage. Okay? Everybody got me on that? So I'm just going to write here outside cage. Outside cage. So both defensive ends, regardless of what gap they're in as part of the blitz, they will take running backs C gap to D gap on their side. Okay, so we've established that right off the bat. These three will take the running back B to B. Okay, so outside cage, running back out here. These three defenders have running gap, B gap to B gap. So we have the same five who are part of the pressure are also responsible for the running back. That's how we do it. And what makes it possible is everybody's reading and reacting to the offensive line as they always do. Okay? And other presentations and playlists, non-subscribers and subscribers alike, we'll be teaching you at some point how we drill all of this and how it does not take an inordinate amount of time. Okay? So now, I want to give you insight as to this concept, man coverage, quoting myself, with zone leverage, end quote. How do they do that? And so the easiest way for me to show you that is with a crossing route. Okay? So first off, let's start with this. On both sides, the offensive line is pass setting, and we got a nice hi-hat on both sides. Again, we'll blitz these both inside linebackers in as heavy a pass situation tendency as we would in a run or 50-50. Okay, again, non-subscribers, push the button. We got I don't mind telling you, plug blitzes for all the situations, all right? So our corners have their inside foot up in their stagger, the one closest to the line of scrimmage, so they are turned in slightly enough to have see, number one, the corner of their eye, read two, and the surface. Okay, both corners. And that is always the case. Okay? So now, on the snap of the football, the quick zit, they see that it's pass. Now, it's all about the receiver. In this case, for the corner, it's always number one, right? So they show pass, hot to one, hot to one, hot to one. I'll cover the outside linebackers next, and I cover safeties last, okay? So now, here it is, right? They show pass. And it does not matter. I know we're a match quarters team. Again, non-subscribers, push the button. See the playlist. But it doesn't matter if that crossing route's at 10, 15, 5, 4, 3. The depth is irrelevant. Hot. Man coverage with zone leverage. Okay? So now, here's what that means. This is where we blend zone principles with man principles. They come together. Okay? So, bang, we zit. Surface, okay? That's the zone technique principle. Offensive line, they show pass. Now the man principle kicks in. So we go from zone principle to man principle. Right? So now he's turned. We do not pedal. We do not create space. Even when we're playing match quarters, you can't make a play in a ball to the receiver if you've got a lot of space, right? You got to get within striking distance. Very simple. I tell all our defenders, you can't reach out and touch the receiver, you can't make a play. All right, so he's going to read it. He's going to have hot feet, and he's going to let the receiver's stem close the distance for him without creating distance and making it difficult. Stem's working downfield inside. Now he's going to close the gap. Now here's the key. The entire time, okay, the hot defender, okay, plays dominant. And then what is meant by dominant? Right? Keep receiver in front. You are on top of your receiver. To be hot on your receiver in a zone blitz, you've got to be dominant, which means on top. And you got to work this with your players. You cannot assume they understand that, because you just went from a zone principle to a man principle back to a zone principle. Right? Out of fairness to the players. I don't care if they're 24 years old, 18, or what have you. Do not assume this. And so now hot means man coverage. So you run across the field with the dominant leverage. That means he's in front of you. You are on what we call the upfield shoulder, the one facing your end zone. And so now you're playing the receiver and seeing the quarterback throw the football, right? Another zone principle. See the ball thrown. Okay? Well, that's what it means, and that's how you play it. Okay, again, I could draw posts, I could draw hitches, I could draw all of it. Starts off with a zone principle, they show pass, it then kicks into a man principle, and at some point it goes back to zone where you're playing with dominant leverage. That is the zone leverage, means on top, dominant. Okay? So again, the other corner, exact same. Outside linebackers. I'm going to start with the one who's in a bad position before the ball snapped. Our detached or our dime outside linebacker in this particular instance, okay? So non-subscribers, push the button. Why is he detached? Rah! Okay? First of all, it's orbit because he is detached, so he's got force on the run, right? Goes back to, right? Read the surface, better run pass, better run support. How can he get force if he doesn't know it's a run? See how this works? So now they show pass, right? Zone principle, man principle. Hot to number 2. See, he's in trail. He's starting off in trail. So now let me get back to red here. Again, I'm only going to draw one scenario. He runs a quick out. Here's the difference, right? Again, non-subscribers, I'll just give you this, so you're welcome. He doesn't get any wider than 5 in our base scheme. We don't want to tip our hand that he's playing a man by changing his alignment. Our alignment's out of skies. You're welcome. So if he's split out 8, 9 yards and he's at 5, he's got to go chase him now. So he's not pedaling ever, but now he's got to close the distance. So he has to run to him. Okay, close the distance. Remember, to be within striking distance. So as the guy's working up the field, there's a chance that your dime may be in what we call trail. That's not playing with zone leverage or dominant. So all we say is work to try and get dominant. Worst case scenario, you got safety help over the top. Remember that. I'm going to cover safeties last. So the detached guy, depending on the split of number 2, he might have a hard time getting that zone leverage dominant being on top. Depends on the route of 2, depends on the split of 2. There are a lot of variables. Okay, so I just wanted to bring that to your attention. The attached, in this case, the rover, on the tight end. Well, he's doing what he always does. Knocking back, always. Boom! He's listening. He's going to hear, pass, right? Because everybody's reading the offensive line. Our rover doesn't because his world is a tight end. He hears the pass. Now, the tight ends are going to obviously try and get away. Again, let's try something similar. Because he's in control of the tight end all the time. Teams don't like to play us because we do a great job mugging the tight end. He usually is able, much easier, to get into that dominant zone leverage position. Much easier. Okay, even if the tight end in this case went vertical, we say to the rover, okay, get in phase with him, which means get hip to hip. And when you're going on a vertical like that, running down the field parallel within striking distance of the tight end, be hip to hip. To us, that's dominant. Okay, so it's much easier for an attached outside linebacker than it is potentially for the detached. But this is how we play zone blitz coverage. We go from zone principle to man principle, and hopefully we finish with a zone principle, which means we're on top, playing the receiver, looking through the receiver to the quarterback and seeing the ball thrown. So, again, a zone principle and then playing the football in the receiver's hands back to a man principle. Remember, we're taking zone and man principles and melding them together. So last and by no means least, both safeties. Okay? They're not playing match concept. They are literally playing quarters inside out. That's what's meant by quarter help. In this case, 2-to-1, 2-to-1. That's inside out. So what we ask them to do, remember they're at 12 yards, by the way, is we ask them to first surface. You see pass like I have here. Now eyes go to the inside receiver. Is he running vertically? Okay. If he is not, then we say, again, comfort zone. If he's running out, then you zone off with him, which means you work out with the release of 2. Now you're looking at number 1. Is he the vertical threat? Where is your help needed? Okay? So over here, it would be the same thing. Zone off. Where is your help needed? If 2 was buzzing down the field, excuse me, the safeties would stay on their tracks. Again, eyes back to the quarterback, zone principle, trying to read that indicator. Where's the quarterback look like he's going with the football? Okay? And if it's all verts, then we should have a guy dominant here, with help on top both sides. So I feel very good about that. Okay? And then the safeties read and react to the indicator. Front hand comes off. They're in the position because they're not playing hot on anybody to break in the direction of that front indicator and hand coming off. Wherever that's going, if it's here, wherever it might be, that defender is the one trying to time up to play the ball in the hands and make sure the receiver doesn't catch it. When we are in our zone blitz coverage, last thing, we are not attempting to intercept the football. I mean, if it happens, great. But it's man coverage with zone leverage, which means we're just making sure that there's an incompletion. If the blitz didn't get to the quarterback, then we want an incompletion. Okay? So as I said at the beginning, to my subscribers, I thank you. To non-subscribers, I hope I convinced you to push that button. Again, I thank YouTube. To everyone, questions, please reach out to me at coachmjsullivan@gmail.com. Starting to happen. I'm learning football. I know I'm helping people on the other side of the screen, and that's what this is all about. So, excuse me, let's help each other out.